All right, we're back, baby. Randy, I want you to start off with that thing you said about your opinion on having a long-term plan.
Oh yeah, F your long-term plan. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but what's your saying? You're like all I know is what did
well,
you say?
yeah, all I know is I'm gonna do what I do, how I've always done it, and how I always do it.
Yeah.
That's that, you know?
Let's go. That's all you
And
need. That's all you need for a long
that's it.
plan.
Yeah, I got that one from Kramer. That's like my own Kramer from Seinfeld. That's like my own little kind of that's probably not exactly how he says it, but that's how I understood it. So,
Yeah, but the thing is it's so beautiful because you can if you say that to yourself and you're like, no, well then there you go, change the plan. Like get it to that point and then that's your long-term plan. If you're like, I don't like what I do, I don't always want to do it, and I don't like what I've always done, well then fuck, you better change
yeah,
it up, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, that's epic. All right, so this is like, I don't know, number six or seven or something like that, but we're having fun with these, and these conversations have just kind of been an extension of what Randy and I have talked about for the last like what 7 years now, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, we're getting near
Uh,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're a person who goes through and watches all of these, yeah, you're gonna notice like one time we talk about isometrics in training, one time we talk about how to train through injury, how to train in nature, and today, Randy and I got on a little chat before these, and we just kind of, catch up, figure out how the week's been for each of us, and one thing that me and Randy, we both believe the center point, and the center point is what we're going to talk about. We really feel like that's where the magic is. When you figure out this center point, your physical practice becomes something you enjoy and do not want to miss out on at all costs. Your health becomes a lot easier to take care of. It becomes easier to treat your body with respect and the love that it needs in terms of what you put inside of it, how you spend your free time, who you hang out with. It will improve your relationships. It will improve your social connection. It will make sure that you spend time with the people you actually enjoy spending time with rather than just people you feel like you have to because you're going through the motions. This center point has been something that's been massive in my life for about 10 years now since I got exposed to it. And it's been a major part of Randy's life as well. And we're gonna share a little bit about where Randy's at right now because of the fact that he's followed that. But the interesting thing with Randy and I is we kind of come at it from, uh, we, uh, I guess we could say our soul's purpose feels like we need to come at it through different angles. So you can take to get to this center point, the magic of what life is. You can take a top-down approach, or you can take a bottom-up approach. And what those mean is I feel, and what I'm in alignment with is when you take a top-down approach, you address the soul first. So you're addressing things like, the thoughts that you think and the love that you show yourself and the way that you express yourself into the world. And when you get all that stuff in alignment with what you really want, all of the other things tend to get easier. The roadblocks you have around nutrition tend to get easier because you don't want to treat your body with disrespect. You don't want to abuse your body. You want to put in the materials that is going to get you to the place that feels the best. You're going to have an exercise practice because it just makes you feel so good. You're going to get rid of people in your life who just aren't moving at the same rate as you. You're going to open up opportunities for other people to come in your life who are on the same page as you. And you can take this top-down approach, but it's not the only entrance point. That's the beauty part about this is there's many paths to this juice of life that everybody needs to drink. And this is drink the Kool-Aid. And this is and the other way is the bottom approach, the bottom up approach. And the bottom up approach is addressing the physical body first. So having a physical practice, fixing your nutrition, in getting making sure that the people you spend your time with is like really in alignment with who you are. And then you can also get to this magic point. And I think, Randy, if you just share a little bit about like what's been going on in your life right now and the awesome things that have been happening and how you feel like you got there and what a physical practice, why you feel like it's so important and what's your goal with every person that you work with.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to tie everything you just spoke about, like that magic or the magic of life or your center. I have felt it in my center or experiencing the magic of life when I'm fully immersed in the adventures of whatever it is that's going on in my life. So when I say like adventures, I mean like the things that you think about that you've considered, but you just haven't pulled the trigger on that. Like whether it's like writing or whether it's messaging someone, a long lost friend, or um, changing careers, or trying running a marathon, whatever it is. Like there's things that we just like we consider and we kind of like imagine them, or they kind of come up. I think they come up as like as ripples from the things we've done previously, like the ripple effect, and the things that we've done, in throughout our life do have a ripple effect into what comes about today. So we're not just like showing up as we are now because of what we did yesterday. We're like showing up as we are now because of an accumulation of yesterdays, like a lot of yesterdays. And so the tie, tying everything we're talking about to kind of the call to adventure and whatever that adventure is for you. So, uh, for me, it was moving to BC. There was just something about the West Coast that was just that it just seemed like the right move. It seemed like a move that if I hadn't done it when I did it and jumped in, that I may never do it. And I couldn't live with like the idea of just like being in comfort where I was super comfortable, and I had amazing people around me, and I had great work-life balance. I had it all. Like I had everything I could possibly want where I was, but there was just something about dropping it all and going to the West Coast. There was just like something that just seemed so right about it, and I will say there's been a lot of experiences in that adventure, and ones that I will cherish forever, and ones that didn't necessarily. I mean, moving across the country is expensive, so I guess I did pay for it, but it's not like material things that I got from it. It's really just experiences that I had in my being, and now I find myself just really embracing that even more. And it's continuing to open up more and more doors for me and continuing to expose me to people that kind of live their life the same way. Um, and and now I just you know, I can't really remember what was the root of your question, Ty, because I kind of rambling there, but
Yeah, no, my question was like how has following that center point, that like soul's purpose for you, how has that translated into what's going on in your life right now? Because you got some pretty epic things going on with how you're coaching and how what you're exposing different people to.
right. Okay. Yeah. And so like yeah, kind of following that center, that call to adventure, now it's led me to a place where my business is running and operating in a way that I never would have envisioned this when I first started out as a personal trainer. And now just the way my schedule is, the way everything is, like every day for the last 2 months has felt like a vacation. Like every day has not, like, yeah, they've been tiring and I've been tired at the end of the day and all that kind of stuff. But like I've been the kind of tired that is like, okay, I'm ready for rest now. It's not like the kind of tired that took life force out of me. It just like it just I feel that I feel tired because it's like it's 8:30, it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, it's time to rest. It's time to rest so that I can't wait to get up and do it again, you know? And so that's like that's where I never would have envisioned this. I've never been much of like a vision board person or like writing my big plans out. I've written like some things about like where I see myself in 5 years and stuff like that, but like even if I would have tried, I don't think I would have like come up with where I'm at. And just to kind of give you guys a kind of a window of like where things are at for me. Um, in the last 2 months, I've started a gym that I call a wannabe gym because it is a wannabe gym. It's outside, which is amazing. We have like a covered area that's being built right now. But currently we work out on pea gravel, which is basically like any park that you go to usually has like this kind of gravel. It's like round and not sharp, and you can do a bunch of stuff on it, but it moves around, and we swing kettlebells on it and do a bunch of stuff. And then and we do that 3 days a week, which is just, and I have like a good crew of people. I have about 15 people that come and go Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it's all in the evening, and it's just like, and it's at my house, so I just like walk out into my backyard and welcome people here, and we get to go outside, and like we're immersed in nature. We're surrounded by trees, and we're all together, and we're swinging around kettlebells and like making jokes and you know the banter is awesome. We've all like kind of I've had this same crew now for about a year, not here specifically, but now we've brought the cult here. So we now have it going on, and just the fact that a gym space is outside is just something that um you and Ty have talked about in the past, and just like you know envision places that would be in the mid, like immersed in nature, and you have open windows and you're looking out at green space and all that kind of stuff. Now, like we're in it, like we're outside and we're in it. And I just think that I know how powerful that is for me. And I just think there's a lot of noise in our day to day. And to provide that opportunity to people for an hour is just like yeah, it's so powerful. Like I think like I never would have envisioned myself as like someone who provides this kind of like really holistic training program. I always thought like I would be more along the performance side or like making people strong or fast or whatever. But now that I'm like in this space and I'm providing this like thing that it cannot be replicated without nature. It's not about me and like what I'm doing. It's just like it's the fact that it's in nature, like and it gives people a chance to drop the phones and just like be in it and do the thing. So that has come about by really staying like along that, you know, something that I knew was true for me, being outside, exercising, physical activity has always been something I've loved. I played outside as a kid all the time, rain or shine, snow, sleet, didn't matter. I was outside all the time. And now I'm an adult and I'm still doing it. It's like, oh man, it's so cool. And really like, you know, I think I've been pretty good at forgetting what it's like to be a child and to play and to imagine again and like and do all those things. And I just think there's so much power in doing that. And the fact that I get that opportunity to give that to people is so huge and has me just lit up right now, big time.
Yeah, you never really that like that kind of like that childlike innocence or that creativity or that like always want to know why and imagination and all that stuff that you just love about kids when you see them, and it's just so like pure to watch it. And yeah, I think I truly believe that that never leaves us. It never
Mhm.
leaves us. It's always trying to call us back, but we just get distracted or we just think we don't have time for it or we just, and the more that you tell yourself that, the more true it becomes. So it can be to the
Mhm.
point where you literally don't have time for it, but that's because you've made it that way.
Mhm.
And the moment that you open yourself up to inviting that side of yourself back in, that becomes like, part of that formula for the juice, like it sparks something. It reminds you like what this life is really about. And if you can do it with people, that makes it even better because everybody kind of feels this like, it's just, it feels good. Um, I want you to describe kind of like the format of these sessions because I know you're doing some stuff like inside in like a dojo kind of space, and the way you're doing that's pretty cool. And then you step outside onto the pea gravel and you're doing some kettlebells. So like why don't you walk through like what does an hour look like at a wannabe gym?
Yeah, yeah. That's the other sort of wrinkle that I didn't talk about. But yes, we do live on top of a martial arts dojo, and they do classes. They host classes here 3 times a week, and then on the other days we have kind of mixed in some more fitness and strength development stuff. On those days where we do a class for strength and sort of kettlebells, we'll get into the dojo and they have these amazing mats and we get on the ground and kind of, yeah, we really do just go through the baby poses. So what we all did, we did tummy time. I mean, maybe we skipped some of the phases, but we just get back to them because we're all just grown up babies anyways. So like we get onto our bellies, we look around a little bit and then we roll. You got the strength to roll around. And then you got the strength to push yourself up. So then you start rocking back and forth. And then we'll crawl around. And then I'll throw in some whatever Randy flavor, we call them random Randy exercises that are just like, there'll be something ground based that just gets you thinking, gets you out of your head. I say thinking, but like gets you thinking with your body rather than your head, and just kind of like exposing your body to different positions maybe, or just different things to try and solve, different movement problems to solve, and just really helping people expose themselves to the idea that there is no right movement or wrong movement. They're just movement. Like it's just like just be. You're not going to hurt yourself. There's nice soft mats all around. You know, just try rolling. Try doing a somersault. You haven't done it since you were a kid. Try it. You're going to do it. Roll over backwards. You're going to do it. Like, it's scary. It's scary, but you can still do it. It's things like that. And it'll be short. It'll be like a 10 to 15 minute kind of segment. And then we get out of there, get down onto get to the pea gravel. We got a bunch of kettlebells down there. I bring sandbags down there and medicine balls. And we'll do a series of, different kettlebell exercises, breaking things down, try and focus on a bit of technique. We'll do sandbags and sandbag carries on pea gravel. If you haven't tried it, it's different. It's hard. Like every step is like not stable. It's like you have to stabilize it. The pea gravel's sliding everywhere. Your foot sinks in, and then you gotta. So it provides a lot of different feedback for people when they're walking around. Um, and then with the medicine balls, that's one of my favorite parts. Like we chuck the medicine balls as hard as we can, as far as we can. We do various throws with each other, like partner throws and things like that. And then a recent wrinkle I added was spike ball. So we've been doing like spike ball between like segments of like swings and snatches or whatever. Or I love isometrics. We talked about isometrics. I'll get half, I'll get a portion of the class doing a isometric hold, and then I'll get two people playing spike ball together, but they got to rally, and they got to get a 10 shot rally, and like they miss on five, okay, they restart, or one, two, they got to hit it back to each other 5 times, or sorry, 10 times until the next group comes in. So like the people holding the isometrics are like, come on, like you guys got to get together and do this thing. So it's a little like, fun things like that that we try and mix in, and kind of as I alluded to earlier, it's like when you and I were talking beforehand, Ty, is like I'm I have all these little elements and wrinkles that I want to like kind of roll in, but I'm not like the main goal is really to get people moving in ways that are maybe a little bit unconventional, and then give them one or two things that they feel super strong in, and we can build on that. And then the rest is like those two things are the main things I'm trying to hit. But then the rest of the time is I want to leave a lot of space for play and that imagination and just different things to sort of like unravel as they will, like based on who we got at the class and things like that, and just layering things out as like a full-on play session, you know. So
Yeah,
that's
and
pretty what we
it's
got going.
yeah, dude, it's amazing, and it's interesting, the types of like the levels that you kind of got to go through when you do something like that. Like having a bunch of people around and all doing it, it makes it easier to just be like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna do it too. But there's definitely, some some like self-imposed limitations that I'm sure come up in that style of movement. Obviously, you're there to guide them and be like, hey, okay, here's the next, here's movement one, here's the transition, here's movement two, right? But it brings up a lot of feelings about like feeling like tense in your body and like scared to move and like it's like a back squat or like a
Right.
lunge is so just like okay, cool, that's what you do in a gym, but this kind of stuff it really yeah, it just like I said, it brings forth these self-imposed limitations that you set on yourself. And so I'm curious kind of like if you've had any feedback from the members or anything about, troubles with doing that or letting themselves do that. And then if you've actually watched kind of the evolution of somebody go from like, oh, like visibly tense and uncomfortable to like, okay, just doing the thing and like kind of maybe laughing at themselves because they're not good at it. And then actually going to the next phase where they're doing the thing, but you can tell they're like focused on trying to like do it right or do it in a better way. And then getting to the point where they're just like, fuck it. Like I'm just having a blast here and who cares? Like any
Yeah, I'd
that
say
progression?
yeah, like I'd say the biggest one, because a lot of these people I've been working with for a bit now, even prior to when we started the Wannabe, but um the biggest one is skipping. Like that's the one that like when we first started doing it, people would just be like, "What the heck are we doing? Like we're skipping? Like I haven't skipped since I was 7 or whatever it is, you know?" But um I get people to skip every time they come to one of my classes, they're gonna skip. If you come to one of my classes, you'll probably you're no, you will skip. And the progression I've seen is like the first few times doing it and like it's rigid or it's just like like whatever, but now I'll like provide an opportunity to like skip in the most like ridiculous way you can think of, like flail your arms, like let your head go back, kick your legs out, do whatever you want, you're just moving forward, just how do you want to skip and it's so cool to watch. Like there's not, what I've concluded with, and I'll keep taking inventory here, but like there's not one person that skips and is like upset or like
Yeah.
sad or mad. Everybody's got a smile on their face, they're laughing, they're giggling, they're having a time. And like yeah, I just think and that's the truth. Like how many kids that skip around or is like a mad angry, like a kid doesn't have a temper tantrum and goes skipping,
Right.
like
And
a kid is like
we're not talking jump rope skipping. We're
yeah,
talking like
sorry, yeah.
frolicking through the the fucking fields.
Through the tulips, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That kind of skipping. Yes, thanks for that clarification. Yeah, and like so that's probably like the biggest one that I've noticed a lot of people just let loose on a little bit more and just kind of like yeah, just kind of let their bodies just kind of do the thing, and not like put any constraints on themselves and like yeah, there is a time and a place with, especially like, resistance exercise, kettlebells specifically. There's like a common principles or positions we want to try and dial in on for your safety and all that kind of stuff. But most of the time, it's like if it works, it works. Like I'm gonna look at it and but you can be the judge too, right? Like as you're doing something, like ask yourself, like, rather than like, is this right? Well, just like, do you feel strong in your body when you do it? Versus like you put your hand or you hold the kettlebell in one way versus another way, and really just start to build that awareness for yourself is the thing that I'm really trying to bring to the forefront. And, sometimes that can be a bit reductionist in some ways. And sometimes like, okay, so, and then the second way I've seen it evolve is like, sometimes I feel like I'm barely coaching because everyone's just dialed in the positions and they're just doing it. Like they're just hitting their front rack in a kettlebell, for instance, is like super dialed in. Their swings look great. Like they're not doing common mistakes with a kettlebell swing and things. So then that kind of opens me up to like opportunities to explore more of these like sort of these games, if you will, or these movement problems that I'll give them to be like, you're gonna try and carry this bag, but you're gonna go backwards this time, or we're gonna do you're gonna pass this kettlebell from left to right side, but you got to shift at the same time from left to right, and just various things that I can kind of layer in if like all the basics are kind of we're dialed in on those, then it allows us to kind of go into that place where we can, rather than trying to find the right technique, because there isn't one, just find, well, there is a right technique, and the right technique is the right one for that person and their body. And so that's where I think one of the things I'm seeing evolve the most is like I'm seeing more and more opportunity for us to get into that space because we've kind of figured out how to squat with the kettlebell, we've figured out how to swing it, we've figured out how to snatch it. So and press it and do all those things. So like, okay, we'll keep doing those basics because we want to get strong and all the benefits from kettlebell training and conditioned and build capacity. But then we can layer in movements that will also like kind of fill the other buckets of keeping you, yeah, like keeping your joints happy and not having these overuse injuries that are common in the
Mhm.
gym,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
and when it comes to like irregular lifting, I mean, it's I got a client right now and she makes furniture and sells and redoes it and sells it and whatever. And she's,
Oh,
almost every session she's coming in and like telling me how she's like, moving this furniture and lifting really awkwardly. And it's like, irregular lifting is kind of the goal. Like to be able to manage really heavy weights in an awkward, a completely
mhm,
unconventional position in terms of like what would people would consider good form
mhm,
is the goal. But that baseline of kind of increasing your threshold with being able to lift things in a way that puts you at kind of like a biomechanical advantage from like knowing how to use your feet into the floor and how that translates into your hamstrings or your glutes or your low back and take pressure off of discs and all these things. Like these positions are important, but like you want to learn those for sure because if you those do operate as really the best starting point. But once you've got those and just increasing the threshold of that, if you can deadlift 300 pounds, like moving and doing it well with like good form, then moving around a 30-pound kettlebell, you got a lot of freedom to like let that background, let that hip kick out, let that shoulder lean. Like you can really get yourself into these irregular lifting patterns, which is actually kind of the thing that makes you the most resilient. Like there's a lot of people who have a massive deadlift and get a disc bulge or herniation from picking something up in the shower. So it's like if you can build that threshold of like lifting properly, understanding how your body works together as a unit from the ground up, knowing how to move those forces around appropriately to different muscle parts, and then use that as a way to introduce really like awkward loading techniques. Like that's where you actually become a lot more fortified and resilient.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. Well, and then exactly, the more options you have, exactly, then it leads you to a place where you know, the we get kind of wrapped up in the well, am I getting stronger? Am I putting more muscle mass on? Am I getting toned? Am I getting like just like the common things? But I think ultimately what we all want from our bodies is for them to be as adaptable as possible to whatever our environment presents itself. So like if your environment does present, you know, your child coming at you full force in an electric motorized vehicle that you got for them, do you have the adaptability to like get the heck out the way and not get run over or like, just various things like that. And I think a standard exercise program does kind of fill a lot of the buckets, but I think one of the missing pieces is like kind of coming back to that place where we can explore a little bit more and come out on the other side with more options to do certain things. We're not just always repeating the same movements over and over. And just like you kind of touched on there is like, well, if you've gotten really, really good at the deadlift or some specific movement, but then like you do that and then you wash your chalk off and you leave the gym, it's like, okay, but then like we still got some other things that we want to try. Like if you really love deadlifting, well, then it's going to help you to like do some other things that maybe aren't classic workouts, but they're more movement focused things that just kind of give back to your body a little bit and move joints in ways that maybe you don't get exposed to in your day-to-day life. But that's like filling the bucket that's just going to carry you forever. Like you're just going to you're always going to be in a place where walking up the stairs is never an issue. And that's kind of where we want to be long term, right? So,
Right. And those body weight movement techniques that you're doing in the dojo are so awesome because like there's no external load. You get to like pick
mhm.
as long as you move with a high degree of intention and you're not just like jamming yourself through these movement patterns trying to force them to happen. Like you can really open up a lot more, mobility or resilience or let parts of your body go where you hold tension. Like the simple one is laying on your back, hugging your knees to your chest, and just trying to rock to your feet all the way to your up into your back. And like if your spine's stiff and rigid, you're just gonna smash the floor like this. But if you know how to relax your spine and create some flexion through your low back and keep like drop your ribs and be able to like actually move your spine, you're gonna get this nice rocking pattern. And those are like really great movements because it's a lot less of a risk of injury doing something like that exposes the spine to flexion than it is to do like a heavy Jefferson curl or something in the beginning, where it's like that's a great exercise, but this is a chance to give people the opportunity to like, what does that actually feel like? How do I make this happen in a fluid and rhythmic kind of pattern, which is essentially what we do most of the day. And like obviously sitting is not rhythmic or even much of a movement at all, really. But like in terms of walking or standing or dancing or throwing or whatever, like there's all this like rhythm and coordination and like smooth fluidity that has to happen in order for those movements to be executed well. And these ground-based body weight kind of crawling animal-esque movements are like a really cool place to expose people to that. So
Yeah.
it's sick that you're doing that with people.
Yeah, man, we're doing the thing now. The missing piece is just getting you out here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going out there next month.
Yeah, yeah, which will be fun. But yeah, we're gonna keep rolling with the adventure
Literally rolling.
and
Literally.
rocking and rolling, baby.
How long have you been doing that?
What's that?
Training people outside like that?
We're going on to this will be month two.
Yeah, that's awesome. So have you
Yeah,
noticed any like changes or has anybody kind of talked to you about or mentioned kind of like changes in how that style of training and like letting themselves, just be that way for that small window of time, like kind of translate into other areas of their life in terms of maybe like creative expression or in terms of
yeah,
being more open or what, because there
yeah.
is definitely.
You're giving me a lot of good questions that I'm gonna have to start prying for with everyone because I think that's definitely something I'm interested in to kind of see like how this environment because I just we know how important training environment is. We can talk like you and I got to spend a good amount of time at one of the best gym environments I've ever been in at Can-Am in Ottawa. Like that gym environment, I did things in that gym that I never thought I could ever do. And one of the main catalysts to that was the training environment. It was just like
Epic.
it was epic. It was so good. And that training environment was all about the people. The gym was great too, but it was the people that made that gym what it is. And continues to be that way. Just the people that are there are just like yeah, just a bunch of nerds that like to put like get heavy weight in their hands, put heavy weights over their head, run fast, jump high. Like it's just like that's the kind of culture that's there, which is really good for creating a performance-based environment. And now this environment being outside, yeah, I know for me it's had a ripple into just being a little bit more, or I'd say a little less attached to the ways I've trained in the past, like always being like, oh, well, if I didn't squat twice this week, like I'm like feeling guilty about it, or not guilty, but I'm like, oh man, I didn't have a good training week because I didn't squat twice this week. But I'm like, yeah, like it's just helped me expand on the different ways to train or exercise and things like that. And then also just getting exposure to the sun that much, I think is really like it's really helped me a ton. Um, I mentioned things about energy and things like that. Like if I go work out at like 6:30 p.m., move around a little bit, I'm out there as the sun's coming down. By the time I come inside, I'm like, or the second I get inside, it's like the natural rhythm of outside is just like helped me just get into a place where I can just like I sleep like
Mhm.
never really have issues sleeping, but on those days, it's like the second the head hits the pillow, I'm out. I'm done. Wake up feeling really refreshed. But in relation to the people that have been doing the classes and yeah, I mean, one thing I do notice is like the pacing of everything is it's a lot less like it's a lot more about like all right, let's set up, let's execute it. Okay, cool, we did that, weights down, we're gonna kind of like whatever, we might grab some water, just kind of like where there's more time,
Yeah, yeah.
there's more space for paying attention to how things are actually moving and how we're executing, which is huge because like movement quality is like it's a big one. Like, and we have a lot of, you might not like in a workout, you might not feel anything that day, but if you're moving with like poor technique for whatever particular exercise you're doing, that could show up as, like overuse in the like tendonitis in the elbow or knee or hip or low back or whatever, you name it. But I think movement quality is one that we harp on a lot, or we as like personal trainers and coaches, we talk about it a lot. But then like actually getting that to be embedded in the program can be hard because the music's fast and other people matching other people's energy. But because we're out in nature and it's quiet and it's just like the birds chirping, then it seems to lead people to moving with a bit more consciousness. And long term, I'm very curious to see how that plays out because movement quality has always been something I've tried to do my best to guide people to the spot where like they're able to move with optimal movement patterns for themselves. I mean, what's optimal? We could get into that, but it really just being safe, like moving in ways that are going to serve you long term. That's what I'm hoping to do for people, and I think in this environment, it's really helping people get exposed to that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I really want you to like start paying attention to
I will
like
definitely.
because it does have a ripple effect, and that's like what I started this whole thing with like the top down and the bottom up. Like you're
Mhm.
going bottom up, you're going like, okay, we're not, we're just training here, we're just moving, but like that opens doors and it does allow people to start to like remember an old memory or bring people
Right.
back to like something they did as a kid or whatever. And it's like, over time we all come into this world as we do have that innocence and we do have that imagination and all that stuff, like I said in the beginning, and eventually we just get distracted and we get overwhelmed and we forget ourselves in it and we get worked up on deadlines and things that are to-do lists and stresses of money and bill payments and yada yada yada. And it's not like moving like this or doing like if thinking like this is going to make it go away, but it's going to help you be able to, it's going to help you be able to like just see your role in it maybe a little bit more, or see how, okay, I can like take a pause from this and do something else and then come back to it with like a new fresh mind. It's really yeah, it's a really powerful thing. And and I'm happy you're doing it. It's really great, and I'm sure that people are loving it. One thing that I want to do if I ever get out there and end up like coaching a class with you or doing something like that, I feel like I want to get
You
some.
will. You will end up out here.
Yeah, I feel I'm gonna be like I'm just gonna pop in for a weekend and I'm gonna go get some Bristol board and a bunch of finger paint and have these people be finger painting in between sets or something crazy like that. Just get them doing that. I remember like that back when I was like, 19 years old, I'd be like doing German volume training, like 10 sets of 10 or something crazy in like a back squat. And then between sets, I had like 3 minutes. I just had like pencil crayons all over the gym floor and I
Yeah.
photos and shit. I used to do all these weird things when I was at Good Life, like way back. And like one of them was, I'd do that regularly. I'd have like pencil crayons on the floor and I'd just be like sitting, like drawing myself like a picture, whether it was like a mandala or whatever. And then one time I went in and I decided I wasn't gonna talk. So I went into the gym and like all these members and stuff coming up to me. They're like, "Hey Tyler," because they see me all the time and I'm just like mute, like not talking. And then I had to go up to them the next day. Like I remember this like older lady, she's like such a sweetheart. And she was like trying to talk to me and I was just like not saying anything, but just kind of like nodding and like smiling. And she was kind of like I could see she's like, what is happening? So I went up to her the next day and I was like, yeah, I was just doing this thing where I was coming in and like training and I just was like not gonna open my mouth for like 3 hours this day. And and I do all these like weird things, just like I don't know. I just was like, you know what? Like this is something outside of the norm that I just wouldn't do, and I just want to see like what I get from that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Why not? Why
What
not? What
does
are you
it
gonna
do? What
lose?
does it do for me? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, I'll try
Yeah.
it. And I left
Exactly.
like the drawing one was like really cool because in between sets, like I was just like I completely forget about like how hard the next set was gonna be. And then I'd like get up and I'd be like, okay, like take this hat, take my like, Picasso hat off and put my friggin' like, weightlifter hat on and then just go mode. And it was like this huge switch from like, okay, like buckle up because
Mm,
this will wreck you if you're not prepared. And then like completely forget about that and gotta be like the exact opposite. Like, you're drawing, you're coloring, whatever. And
right.
it just kind of felt like it like for me when I left that workout or those workouts because I did it more than once. Like it was just like it was like increasing my rate that I could switch from this mode to this mode. And the talking one, I remember leaving that session. I just felt so chill, like so chill. Have you ever like not talked for 2 hours intentionally? It's
I
like
don't think so.
yeah, it's just like so simple, but you leave
Right.
feeling like completely chill and relaxed.
I gotta try that because I talk to myself all the time. I gotta try that.
Yeah, it's called the Shut Up program.
Yeah, I like that. I could use some of that, I think.
Yeah, that's sick, man. Well, yeah, we'll be
I'll send this over to the crew when you put it up on YouTube and I'll just like I'll tell them to listen to the whole thing if they want, but I'll tell them where you asked me that question and get them to kind of think on it because I'm definitely there's some things going on for sure. I mean, people keep showing up, so there's clearly something that's going on, you know?
Yeah,
Uh,
right. And they might say like, no, not really. Like
right. It
they
might.
might not have given it any thought. Like we're looking at it
Yeah.
because we know it will, but their first reaction might be like, no, I don't think so. Like, okay. But then they'll stew on it and they'll be like, oh shit, like I
Maybe.
played
Yeah.
way longer or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
sweet.
dude,
Awesome, bro. Well,
I like it.
yeah, we'll put a pause here. If you made it this far, you're the best, and we'll see you next week.
Beauty.